where I forget and we get all hyped and crazy and I forget to click the button. Okay, we are recording, so we're gonna go ahead and hop into this. So me, Morgan, and Kelsey are gonna share just our best tips with you on how to continue going, how to continue, blazing that fire, how to spread it through your team, and really just talk about leadership tonight. We're going to talk about personal development. We're going to talk about charting. We're going to talk about mindset. I mean, all the things. So if you have questions, please comment them in the chat because this is definitely the space to do it as we're all leaders or emerging leaders. So much stuff is going on. So Morgan, I'm going to start with you. Most of these people on here know you, but just a quick story and then you can just hop into your tips. We're going to kind of go back and forth with each other. I'm going to unmute Kelsey and you because I have everybody muted just so we can have it like that. Did that work? Did y'all get it? Yeah. Okay. You're good, Morgan.
Do you want me to share my story? Did you say yes?
Yeah, just a brief one, just so they can kind of get to know you.
Okay, so I'm Morgan, and I joined this business 5.5 years ago. Whenever I was a broke college student, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was putting gas and groceries on credit cards, and I just felt like there had to be more to life than that. And so I found out about this business whenever I was scrolling through Instagram, saw a girl posting about the wraps. I thought they were fake. I thought there was no way that they worked. But I decided to try them anyways because I had gained a lot of weight and I was really wanting to feel better about myself. And so I decided to try them and I loved my results. And then I saw her Instagram and I looked at her bio and it said that she was an Emerald with It Works. And I Googled how much they made and I realized that she was making as much money from her phone while she was in college as I was working full-time as a nanny 4 days a week watching 3 kids. And I was like, okay, if she can do that, I can make $100 a month. I never really joined to do what she did because I didn't think that was possible for me. Anybody else? Comment a 1 below in the chat if you're like, yep, $500 or less is what I joined for. Because you see all these people making a lot of money and you're like, yeah, that can never be me. But obviously I think now you've kind of caught the vision that can be you. That's why you're on this Zoom. So I joined this business for $100 and that would help me with gas and groceries. And that was really my only hope in this business. I didn't really have a lot of expectations for myself. And so I got started. I just jumped in. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had never done anything like this before. I didn't have time. I didn't have money. I didn't have people in my area that I knew. I didn't have a big social media following. And I was working a full-time job, a part-time job, and going to school full-time. And so I found time to make this work. People ask me all the time, how did you do that? I don't know how I did it because I didn't have time, but I just made the time. And that's the bottom line. Like if you're somebody who is busy, you're just going to have to make the time. We'll talk about that and just a little bit about showing up for yourself and showing up for your team. But I just got started, guys. I didn't know what I was doing and I just grew as I grew as I went. And so because of this business now, I've been able to do everything I never thought I'd be able to do. I was able to pay for college in cash. I was able to pay my husband's student loan debt off. We were able to buy a Tahoe in cash. We paid off over $100,000 in debt, earned over $170,000 in bonuses. We've been able to build our dream home, and now we're able to give more in a year than we used to make in a year. And that's the biggest part for us, is that we're able to just be a blessing to other people, and this business has given us the vehicle to do that. And now we get to help our team do the same thing. So that is my story. Do you want me to just jump into
Yeah, you can just jump
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, take it away. Take the mic, sister.
Okay. So what I want to just kind of talk to y'all about today is really pouring into your team and making sure that you are keeping them close this month as you promote. Because if you promoted last month, drop a 2 in the comments, whether you went Ruby, Emerald, Executive, Diamond, Double, it doesn't matter. Put a 2 in the chat if you already promoted last month. That's so exciting. Congratulations, everybody. Let's give them a little clap if your video is on. That's super exciting. So what our goal with this whole entire Zoom is for you not to stop there. Because so many of us, and we know this because Kelsey's done it, I've done it, Cheyenne's done it, and our goal is to help you not make the same mistakes that we've made. And for me, that was at Diamond. And I hit Diamond and I kind of just stopped dreaming. I stopped leading my team. I didn't really set any new goals for myself. And so I sat at Diamond for 13 months because I never believed I could move past that. I never kept charting. I just kind of thought okay, well, this is as good as it's going to get, because at Diamond, I was able to quit my full-time job. And so I was thinking, if that's the best that it could be, how could it how could I ever go double, because that's more than what I need? And why would I want to make more than what I need? Like, I've just always grown up being able to just get the bare minimum, right? Like, there was no extra. And so for me to have extra, it was awkward. It was weird. It was something that I thought I didn't need. I thought it was being greedy and selfish. Anybody else? This is kind of like not really on my notes, but I felt like I wanted to talk about this too, because so many times we get into this like funk where we're like, just good enough is always good enough, right? Anybody else feel like that? And it's not true. How can you pour from an empty cup? How can you, if you're wanting to help all these people, you're like, well, you know, I don't want to have extra money. I don't want to have all this stuff more than what I need, because there's so many other people who need food, who are starving. So how dare I have money left over? Who's going to feed the starving people if your wallet's empty? How can you help other people if you can't even pay your own bills? So yes, you do need extra. It isn't bad to want more. God said that he came here so we could live life and have life abundantly. So for you to just scrape by and have the bare minimum is doing a disservice not only to yourself, but to other people around you who God wants to bless them through you. So don't just sit here and be like, okay, well, I did good enough. Like, it's not good enough. You can keep going, dream bigger, go past that, because that lack of belief and that mindset held me back for 13 months. And so what really helped me get over myself is dreaming again. Okay, dreaming bigger and realizing like there is more to accomplish. I want to go back and flick 2016 Morgan in the face and be like, hi, you have debt you should be paying off. Because I didn't think about those things. I was like, well, I quit my job. That's great. And I didn't think about the paying off the debt, the saving for the future, you know, buying a house, paying off my car, all those little things that you can do. And so now, if you haven't started dreaming bigger, you need to start dreaming bigger, because that's what's going to help you get that chart out. That's what's going to make sure that you're pushing forward to the next rank. And so something that my team and I have started implementing, and this is what I want to talk about, is our 3-way chats. It's been a game changer for us as a team all together. I'm so excited about this because it's something that Kelly Brown told me what to do whenever we were hanging out a couple weeks ago. And I was like, all right, like, what are you doing with your team? How can I do this with my team? And how can I implement this system to help me grow, to help us go ambassador, to help my team promote? And it's done so much for us. So I'll talk about it. So basically, I got with all my leaders. This is where I started. I got with all my leaders and I told them, hey, we're going to make some 3-way chats. I'm going to explain more. Let's get on a FaceTime. And I FaceTimed all of them within like 3 days. And so I told them the idea behind it and what we were going to do. And so basically, it's me, a leader, and then this person that they enrolled in this group chat. And so, for example, I see Megan and Jacob on here. So I enrolled Megan and Megan enrolled Jacob. So the 3 of us are in a group chat on Facebook. And my goal is to help Megan lead Jacob. And so I'm not necessarily directly leading Jacob, but I'm going to help Megan, show her how to do that. And so Megan is kind of already an established leader at this point. So it's not really like I'm super hands-on with Megan. But then Megan is going to help Jacob train his distributors that he enrolled last month. And so Megan's going to be very hands-on. And so Megan's going to go to the people in that chat that Jacob signed up, and she's going to go FaceTime those people one-on-one. The chat is not the most important thing, okay? The chat is just so that you can all see, like, Megan's going to look at how Jacob's leading his team and say, okay, yeah, like, that's perfect. That's perfect. Just kind of like overseeing everything. And if she sees that something is being missed, or she sees a question being asked and he answered it, and she's like, oh, hey, Jacob, over here in a text, hey, you should add this and make sure that they're doing this. And she'll be like, okay. She's going to go and tell Jacob, hey, make sure that you're talking about this. Like, let's do this. And that way now Jacob's like, oh, okay. Now he's learning how to lead. Megan is learning how to lead because I'm showing her how to lead Jacob. And then this new person is getting fed by Jacob directly, and Megan's also FaceTiming them. So the FaceTimes are the real big part of the chat. The chat is really just so that we can see the leadership and so that they can see that there's multiple people solely invested in their success. Okay? I like the retention for new distributors. We signed more distributors as a team last month than we've signed in over a year. And I think 2 have quit. And whenever I say 2 quit, the other ones that stayed are actually enrolling. Like, I don't mean like they're just like here and like answering our text every 7 times we text them. I mean, like, there's duplication happening. There is leadership happening. Like, there are new leaders popping. Like, we have a leadership chat and people are just being thrown in there left and right because they're growing in leadership quickly because they're seeing how to do that. And so those three-way chats have changed everything for us. And so now this is not something that's just for established leaders. This is something we created because we hadn't done it yet. So I went to all my leaders, had them throw me in group chats. So yes, I'm in like 100-something Facebook group chats. But again, I'm not answering questions in there. That's not my goal. My goal is to say, okay, I'm in a group chat with Ashley, Jennifer, Jessica, and Amanda. So I'm going to have those girls' names on a list, and they're on my list of people to FaceTime one-on-one with every single day. I'm FaceTiming them and I'm just going over the 5 things they should be doing every single day to grow their business. Hey, how is posting going? How do you feel about that? Okay, here's the way that you can make sure that you're posting your story, and I'll walk them through that. How is host to post going? Okay, perfect. Then let's start implementing this. And today, as soon as we get off this call, I'm going to send you a script and I'm going to send you a video, and I want you to watch them. And so now people that I talked to on FaceTime today have signed 2 customers since then, just because I taught them how to do post to post, and they were already doing it. They already knew, they'd already gone through training, but they had somebody look at them directly in the face one-on-one and look and say, I believe in you. You can do this. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to take it step by step. And it's not just the person that enrolled them. They have multiple people with their hands in their business, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And so it instills excitement, confidence, belief, like this motivation, this excitement. And then I'll randomly pick a day that I'm like, okay, I don't have a lot going on. I'm blocked on Facebook from messaging for host to post. Anybody else feel me? So done with that. This is like day 4. Anyway, so I'll go into chats and I'll just like quick voice text somebody, and I'm like, girl, I have seen you blow up this chat with your enrollments. I'm so freaking proud of you. Way to go. Keep killing it. What do you need my help with? And then they text me back and I'm answering their messages, and I'm just quick answering, and then I move on. And so I'm not in the chats every single day, so it's not overwhelming. I'm looking at the chat, it's blowing up, so I will come back to those questions because I can't focus if I look at them yet. But I'll come back if y'all have questions, keep dropping them in there. But I'll go through the chats on Facebook every now and then, but mostly it's just for me to connect with them and for them to know somebody else is there watching them and that they're there to help them. And so that's what we've done with the group chats. And so as soon as somebody finishes their training, let's say Libby enrolls somebody named Ashley, and Libby just finished Ashley's training. I am one of Libby's direct upline, so she's probably going to put me, Allie, herself, and Ashley, this new distributor, in a 3 to 4 way group chat, 4 at the most. And that's just so that we can all see and help. But if Libby wants me to be somebody, or if Libby wants Ashley to be somebody that I FaceTime, she's going to put me in that chat with her. And she's going to make sure that I have her name on the list. Does that make sense? So every time I'm added to a chat, I'm adding them to my list of people. All right, I'm going to FaceTime these people and make sure I get through my list. The way that you choose who to FaceTime, you choose that based on, number 1, maybe the specific area on your chart that needs the most help, or that needs the most leadership, or that needs the most volume, or that you need to, like, this leg to promote so that you can promote. That's who you're really pouring into in these FaceTimes. For me right now, we're going ambassador. So I am FaceTiming very intentionally over here, then one person over here, one person over here, and every leg every day. So it's somebody in different spots because I need all of it to grow. And so that's kind of how I'm picking the people. And then if I see a leadership ball being dropped and I see, oh, this person isn't teaching this person about this, I'm jumping in that chat and I'm picking up that leadership ball because that falls on me. You have to take responsibility for your entire team and your entire organization. If that ball falls, you pick it up. But then you go directly to the person who dropped the ball and you say, hey, what do you need my help with as far as leadership goes? Is there something that you feel like you're struggling with leadership? And you're going to maybe FaceTime them and walk them through some things that they need to be showing up for as far as leadership goes that they're maybe missing. And then give them the benefit of the doubt, let them go, lead these people. And then if the leadership ball falls again, you go pick it up and you go guide and help and you go and lead these people. So one last thing with the group chats. what I've been doing with my new distributors, and this has been crazy. I look at Emily Godney, and she is on here. So she signed up and she's already enrolled I can't even keep up, 1 or 2, 3 something distributors. She signed up a ton of people. And so one person, like whenever she signs up her first distributor, as a new distributor, she signs up somebody and I am like leading them like through the initial training myself. So we're in a group chat and I am leading this new distributor through everything, and Emily's watching. And she's seeing what I'm doing. She's watching what I'm saying. The second person she signs up, I am helping her lead, and I'm pretty hands-on. It's very half and half. I'm sending in the scripts. I'm reminding them, hey, make sure that you're tagging them in this. Hey, make sure that this is going on, whatever. And then, yeah, it's through the chat, but it's actually on like a text chat because I see those quicker. And I need to be very much like this with these new distributors, right? Because remember, my Facebook chats, I'm not really checking those very often. So my text chats, this is where, because it's my personal distributor. So I'm like, throw us in a text. I'm going to help you train them, and I'm walking them through. And these I'm very intentional to check every, so often. And so the second distributor that they sign, it's half and half. The third one, I'm still in that chat, but they're doing everything, and I only jump in if I absolutely feel like something needs to happen. Or I'll go to, Emily, and I'll say, hey, Emily, make sure that she's done this so far. Did she do that yet? Okay, cool. She knows how to do that. Perfect. And then they're added to my FaceTime list because they're just somebody that I'm in a 3-way group chat with. We'll move it over to Facebook as soon as we feel like they're confident in their training, so I won't be checking it so much. And then this person knows how to lead because they've seen me do it and they've seen what I've done with them. And so I'm still FaceTiming my leaders. I'm still talking to them as needed. But really my focus is burning that fire from the bottom, right? Because fire burns from the bottom. That's why it's really important to dig deep in your team. We found amazing, incredible leaders and enrollers in the last few weeks just implementing this system. It's like so that nobody falls through the cracks. And if somebody is falling through the cracks, you're in a 3-way group chat and you see it before it happens. And so maybe I'll text somebody and be like, hey, how is so-and-so doing? They're like, I don't know. I haven't talked to them. Okay, I'm gonna go to the group chat and be like, hey, how are you doing? How's everything going? Like, before they get so discouraged that they quit, we catch it. And so a lot of people have stayed. People that haven't enrolled in 45 days are enrolling 100 BV plus orders. People that have never signed a distributor in their life or boxed for Ruby. People that have not enrolled anything are enrolling 5 LCs a day. All of our new distributors, for the most part, have enrolled at least one customer, if not all 6, in their first 10 days. It is insane. And so the people that are enrolling these distributors, so Megan enrolled Jacob. She had a FaceTime with him within the first 24 to 48 hours. I enrolled Emily, first 24 to 48 hours. I already did her training through the chat. Our FaceTime is to regroup and recap. Okay, what do you need help with from what I just taught you? Okay, let me go through that. And so I'm explaining everything, but really it's just to connect with them and create that friendship. Out of the people that I've enrolled in the last month, I enrolled 21 distributors last month, and I think 17 of them all have their shopping spree on their own. And the other ones at least have one or two customers, and 3 of them are boxed for Ruby on their own. Already from last month. So within 2 to 3 weeks. And so it's just crazy. And I'm not bragging, this stuff has never happened. So I'm kind of like, what the heck is happening? Why didn't I do this sooner? So hang on, I'm going to look through the chat really quick and see if there's actual questions, but Kelsey and Shay, if y'all have any questions, y'all can ask too about that. And
also,
then I'm gonna
while we're doing this, really try to stay unplugged. Put your phone away and focus on what we're talking about, because there's so many things that we're talking about that you have to make sure you stay plugged in, because as a leader, this is going to be spread to your team. And if you're not paying attention or taking it in, you're not going to be able to share it with them. So just a tip, just try to be plugged in.
So one question that was in here, Kelsey asked, is the other leader on the FaceTime too? No. But so I'm FaceTiming them completely one-on-one. And then I am, what? Why are you laughing?
It won't let me unmute her. Keep sharing.
No, I was laughing at myself because I said, can you unmute me? But I actually meant unmute, and I don't want you to unmute me because that would be bad. But no, what I mean, my question is what kind of basic training are you putting them through before you're FaceTiming them?
So basically my training is what Shay sent you,
Yeah.
essentially. Mine is the different days. So we go through, they like log into their eSuite, they add themselves to our team pages, and then I tell them like, this is your first goal is to get your shopping spree. This is what we're going to do at 6 customers, yada, 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 explain it. I say, does that sound good? Does that all make sense? They say yes. I'm like, all right, so here's what a loyal customer is. And this is what we're going to get because you need 6 of these to get your shopping spree. They say, yep, got it. I'm like, all right, now we're going to go ahead and make a dirt list. They make the dirt list. I have the message, just like a simple message asking them if they'd be interested. I walk them through those conversations and I tell them ahead of time, if no one replies to you, it's okay. Because that's like where so many people are like, you know, but I'm like, if nobody replies to you, that's totally fine. So, but if they do, then that's even better. So we're just going to assume that this is just going to be the first step because we have so many different ways we're going to help you get customers. So if this isn't how you get your 6, we have other options too. So that they're not like, oh crap, that didn't work. What else now? So I let them know ahead of time there's options. And then we do host to post before we do their first post because that's where you lose people. I feel like is when we're telling them to make their first post. So I always do dirt list, then host to post, and then an actual post because they'll also get more people comment on their host to post if they're not announcing that they're in the business yet.
Yeah.
Right. No, that makes total sense. A dirt list is just anybody that would buy dirt from you.
Oh.
But my next question is when you, okay, because this feels a little overwhelming to me to implement like right now, when you first started, how did you decide? Because I know there's people on here that are triple and above and they're like, okay, this sounds great, but like, where the F do I start? How did you kind of determine that?
Yeah, so literally, this was not like a 20-minute, like, Kelly was like, hey, go do this. And I was like, got it. For 4 hours, I was like, wait, so if they do this, like, hang on. I asked her questions for legit 6 hours, and then I, like, called her after, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So where I started, top leaders. I explained everything to them, and top leaders, you kind of know what that looks like. Your go-to people, the people that you know will understand and you can explain this and they're going to be on board. So I FaceTimed each of them and I explained everything to them individually on a FaceTime, and it took, gosh dang, so long, but it was worth it. And I FaceTimed them and I just said, this is what we're doing. This is what I want you to go do now. And then I have my charts, so I know who is where and like kind of like people that are key people. And I'm like, wait, why didn't you add this person in the chat? They're like, oh, I did, but you're not in it. I'm like, okay, I want to be in that one. Or like you, what? And then they'll like ask me.
How many were you like, and I guess like how far down did you go? Like just until you felt comfortable? Like with that, I think that's like where I'm like, okay, how, like, when are you cutting this off? Because it could go miles deep. And like, did you just look at who was enrolling in your organization and you went to those people? Like, I mean, I guess I can kind of figure that out on my own, but I guess I'm looking for some direction.
So for me, it was more of like the level of leadership that I felt like was in that team. So like if there's a team who is super strong and I was like, they can really do this and understand it and implement this with the level of leadership that they're at right now, I won't be in any group chats below their second level. It's going to be me, this person, and this girl, and then one person that they enrolled. But people below that, I was like, I don't really need to. But there are other people who I feel like are fresher or have a lesser level of leadership just because they haven't grown in that yet. There hasn't been time for that. And so I'm like, okay, I really want to develop this person more as a leader. I want to be in all of their chats because I need to see that. And so then there's other people that I'm like, they're maybe brand new and I'm not in their chats that far down because I just don't need to be. And I feel confident letting them kind of go by themselves. And so then at that point, I try to do empowered leadership. If I truly feel like I'm okay with them not being, or me not being in there, I say, you choose. If you want me to be in there, I'll be in there. If you don't, that's okay too. You get to choose, but that's only select people that I let choose. Other people, I'm like, I'm going to be in this for sure, or I 100% don't need to be in this. It's just like I'm feeling it out.
And Kels too, we can go over this with the 3 of us and we can spread it through our teams and stuff too.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then my last question is people that you're enrolling, are you putting with the person that you place them under in that group chat and then training them specifically?
Yes. So that, yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I forgot to talk about that part. So I wait till I'm done with their training, and I feel like they have asked the majority of the questions that they really need me to answer, because I like to know that they're getting the right answers from me specifically at first. And so once they finish their training, and this is going to be kind of a feeling it out thing too, once you feel like they're ready, within probably their first week, as long as they're not dragging their feet with training, I introduce them to the person that I place them with, and I'll do it through a group chat. So on Facebook, it's me, this girl, and then my new distributor. And I say, hey, this is so-and-so, this is just a co-leader. We're going to both be here to help you. And then a couple days later, I kind of check in, and I'm, text that person that I placed. I'm like, hey, did you get a FaceTime with my new distributor I placed under you yet? And they're like, oh, no, I haven't. Okay, let's make that a goal for the next day or two to get on a FaceTime with them, because I've already FaceTime with my new distributor, but I want them to do it too, so they have that extra level of friendship and connection. But earlier you asked if the other leader is on the FaceTime. No. So I FaceTime like let's say Jacob, like Megan enrolled Jacob, but I FaceTime Jacob by myself, went back to Megan's and Jacob's and I's group chat, and I said, hey Megan, Jacob and I talked about this. This is kind of what he was struggling with, and these are some tips that I gave him for that. Now we're all on the same page, and Megan sees the things that I told him based on what he was struggling with.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Did you have more tips after that, Morgan?
Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, and I can make it short because I want to take up the whole time. So setting an example as the leader and just like leading from the front. So guys, if you're not showing up for your team, they're not going to show up either. And I think that so often I see the disconnect there, and people are just getting frustrated, and they're like, well, why is my team not doing this? My team isn't enrolling. My team isn't showing up, all of these things. And it's easy for us to point our finger at all the other things that are going on in the world or in our team or all these things. But really at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for your own organization, whether it rises and falls, is on the leader. And so if there's something that's happening in your organization, I think Kelsey's the one that told me this. She said, if there is something that you notice in your organization that you don't like, ask yourself if you either like created that or if you've allowed it, because that's a Craig Groeschel thing too. Like everything that's going on in your team, you've either created or allowed. And so if you've created that, type of mentality that you don't have to show up to Zooms, you don't have to have your charts out. It's not a big deal if you're not loud and excited. You don't have to enroll. It's okay if you don't post for a week. That's what your team is going to do, because you've created that kind of environment. You've created that kind of setting where people are growing and they're like, oh, well, this is fine. This is normal behavior. But if you want that to change, set the bar higher. And so if you see something that you don't like, it's probably because they're looking at you and you're probably doing that same thing too, whether it's something big or small. So make sure that you're showing up every single day, doing your 6 list, doing the things that you need to do to promote. So many of y'all put a 2 in the chat earlier saying that you were promoted last month. So if you promoted, you already know what to do, but you need to show up again and show your team how to do that too. Don't stop dreaming, because if you're not dreaming bigger for yourself, then you can't dream bigger for your team, because your team has goals and they may be a ruby on your chart, but you have to see them as a potential diamond, because if you don't, your organization's never going to grow past that, and you're going to be the lid on your team, and they're only going to see themselves as a ruby if that's all you see them as. So you have to show up for yourself, show up for your team, make sure that you are just every single day pouring into them, which means you have to be doing self-development, because if you're not pouring into yourself, you cannot pour out to people. And that's like my biggest tip where all this kind of connects together. As you're pouring out to your team, especially in these one-on-one FaceTimes, I probably do 3 to 4 FaceTimes every day with people on my team. And I used to not really like it. I was very out of my comfort zone. And now I'm like, ugh, I haven't talked to my team today. I hate this. Like, I want to do them. But before I get on the phone with anyone that day, I have to make sure I've done my self-development, that I've prayed over myself, prayed over my team, that I've poured into myself, because if not, I'm going to try to pour from an empty cup, and that's not good for anybody. So make sure that you're doing your self-development and show up for your team. That's my last tip.
So good. And yeah, guys, that, what Morgan was talking about with her training, like it's just a lot to you maybe because it's different. It's something that we're like, oh, that's different than what I've done. But like I've been implementing the same thing and like we've all kind of gone together off of our training and it's changed the game, seriously. Like having that connection with your team, getting them in three-way calls, because I actually did this when I went triple. And I was getting, it was when the $20 deal was going on, and I was getting all these people in these chats, and it was crazy because people were learning. They were learning how to be a leader. They were learning how to have conversations. And especially if, there's so many new people on our teams right now that it's like training them to be a leader and training new distributors, and they're getting the shopping spree all in one. And it seems like more work, but imagine what's going to unfold from the work that you're doing. Like these little bits of effort that you take with your new girls and making that connection. Because I'm going to tell you what that I've realized the most with this is that people will stay when they've made a connection. It won't matter if they're overwhelmed with the business. It won't matter if they don't understand the business. If they've made a connection with you and they trust you and they love you and they know that you care, it's done for. How many of you have got that from your team and you automatically know like you're here for life no matter what happens because you've got your people. That's how they feel too. So I'm going to go into my story just a little bit and share some different tips with you. So when I joined the business, just like Morgan said, I wasn't here for a big thing. I didn't think that I could ever make that much money. I didn't think that I could ever be something in this business. I was just here for gas money. And within 5 months, I went diamond. So I was on top of the world. I was so excited. I promoted to this big rank. And I went to college. I paid all my tuition. I thought that I was like on top of the world. And then I put my business on the back burner because my life got hard and I went through relationship issues and I was going through this change of going to school and basically growing up, and my business was the first thing to go. And that was the biggest mistake I ever made in my entire business ever, was because my whole entire team left that day. Basically, it was like, peace out. If you go back to my YouTube channel and watch my team Zooms from like October of 2018 or no, 2017, whoops, there was nobody on them. It was like 2 people that was on them. And it was at that moment, like I went to conference, I got my team back and rallied. I got my charts out. I discovered where I was going, what I was doing. And I went double diamond, 3 months later, triple, 3 months later, presidential. And so that's what I really wanted to talk to y'all about is this Zoom is so close to my heart. And I got this idea because I remember when I went diamond, I slowed down. I was like, yes, I got it. I sealed it in the bag. My promotion's done. I'm racking in $2K a month. Like, let's go. And then I got comfortable and I got complacent and I stopped growing. Okay. This business is all about growing. You hear people saying like, oh, replacing this and I'm recharting this and I'm rebuilding this. You're just growing. Like all we do is replacing and helping and rebuilding new. It's never a bad thing. It's just that you're constantly having to evolve in this business. And so, when I went diamond, I put all my charts away and I got to diamond and I was killing it and things were great. But when I reevaluated my business and I went to Jade Hooper and I was like, dude, I need more. Like I've got to get out of this rut. I'm tired of making $100 a month. Like I need to make this work. And she said, Cheyenne, get your double diamond chart out. That's it. I poured
Wait, Shay, can I just point out something? Did you guys hear that she went to Jade? Jade didn't come to her. She went to Jade. Okay. And I'm not trying to steal your thunder right here, Shay, but I just think that it's so crucial that people that like we point out that like leaders are always self-aware and they're never afraid or unwilling to ask for help. Okay. Because asking for help is the first sign that you're a leader. Because you are humble enough to do that. Because like Morgan said, you're the lid on your team. And if you're not asking for help and you're not getting better, then guess what? Your team's not getting better. And I hate to say it, but there's some triples and presidentials and whoever on here, and you're so afraid to ask for help because you think at some point you have to know everything. And that's the enemy telling you a lie based on a positional leadership title that you had. Okay, you are never, Marwa is still asking for help and she's a double ambassador. You never have it all figured out. And the moment you do, God will take it all away. Okay, sorry, go. I just had to point that out real quick.
Amen. Insert praise hands because guys, I went to her and I say this too, and I don't say this lightly. When I went diamond, Courtney's my upline, okay? She was like, yes, you went diamond, woohoo. And I was expected to continue going. I was expected to continue growing my business. And when she looked at me as an executive on her chart that was once diamond, she probably said, oh, another one bites the dust. She loved me through it and she texted me and she cared about me, but she kept building her business. And so then it was up to me to figure my crap out. So I went to my leader and I said, what do I do? And she said, get your chart out. You stopped growing. You stopped working towards the next goal. And so I went to conference. I maintained diamond. I got my double chart out 30 days later with 3 people working on my team. I went double diamond. I continued growing. I got more charts out for my team. Every 400 box, I was like, okay, you're going ruby. You're going ruby. Every ruby, I was like, you're going emerald. Every emerald, I was like, you're going diamond. Let's freaking go. And everyone was pushing and growing towards things that it was every 90 days I was promoting. It was like triple diamond, $15,000 bonus, presidential diamond, $25,000 bonus. And it all happened because I was consistently growing. Guys, the most important thing about you as a leader is that once you get to the top, you don't just sit up there at the top and look at the view. You look down and grab the arms of the people in your team and pull them up there with you. Because it's not fun being at the top by yourself. It's not fun winning and looking at your team and realizing that they're stuck and they're not going to the next level. That is your responsibility. Yes, it's their responsibility to work, but it's your responsibility to give them the space to grow. And so as that leader, I got my chart out, but I have always had this binder right here with all my girls' charts in it, right here. I know where everyone's going. I've got my chart up here, and yes, it's mine, but I go to my girls and I'm like, hey, I just helped you get a distributor. This is your next chart. You need 2 more. Let's work on getting this done together. So they've got 2 more people, but they know I'm in collaboration with them on getting these promotions done. It's not just, oh, this is my ambassador promotion. It's my presidential and my triples and my other triples and my doubles and my diamonds of letting them know that they have room to grow too. So give them space. It's not just you. And I want you to know that that is what a leader is. It's today, I'm not the leader I was 2 weeks ago. I'm not the leader a month ago when I decided to do these, new distributor trainings. When I realized, okay, as a leader, I know that our new distributors are not sticking around like they should. And yes, sometimes we have to point ourselves out in ways that may not be the greatest, but we've got to do that in order to become better. And so I want to talk to y'all about getting that next level out. So how many, okay, I know we already talked about all of you that promoted, but how many of you didn't promote? I want you to look at your chart and say, okay, maybe I could have done a better job of making sure this ruby knew their goal. And this emerald knew how close they were. And this person knew that this person was on their team and was this close to promoting. Because I know a lot of you on here, especially that are on my team, because I can speak for you because I know what's going on, is that you may not have been promoting for the last 6 months to a year, and you've been consistently enrolling, but you haven't turned around and showed them how to do it too. When's the last time you got a ruby chart out for your girls? When's the last time you got a diamond chart out and was like, hey, you need to do this and you need to do this, and you break it down? It's all about turning around and pulling them back up with you. And so like I said, when I went presidential, and I was like, yes, man, I'm pres, this is great. I never thought I'd be here. I just saw a paycheck that made more than my family income in a year. And I'm sitting here and I'm on top of the world again. Okay, here I am looking at the view, this is great. I've been here for almost a year and a half. Okay, so we're not coming to you telling you all these things that we haven't experienced it. I've been sitting up here on this presidential little perch of a tree, and I'm sick of being on this limb. I'm ready to go to the next level, and that's because as a leader, I'm willing to get out of my comfort zone and sit there and say, hey, I should change this. Hey, I need to grow in this way. I'm not getting face-to-face with my girls. I'm not building a relationship with them. I had to put myself out as that, and so sometimes as a leader, you gotta swallow the humble pill. And I hear Kelsey talk about being humble all the time. You've got to swallow those pills and make yourself realize that there's ways you've got to grow, but you've got to turn back around and help your girls. So I challenge you, when you get off this Zoom, to find your people and start implementing these new distributor trainings of getting them in connection with people on your team so they can build that relationship, and then running with them. This is your ruby promotion. Just like Pam says, our charts are our roadmaps to success. Okay, you get that chart out, and that's all you need to know. Everything else is a plus. Okay, the trainings that we have, these leadership trainings, we've all been where you are, and we don't want you to make the same mistakes that we have. And so we're here telling you, talking about the distributor training, talking about leading from the front, talking about not getting to a promotion and saying, woo, rock on, I did it. This is great. You've got to continue growing, and you've got to turn around, because guys, look at your promotion. Your chart is built of rubies. Do you see that? Ambassador, I think, is 54 ruby promotions. Ruby is 1, emerald is 2, diamond is 3 different rubies. Like they're all broken down by rubies. So that's you showing that you duplicate your leadership. A ruby here, a ruby here. Because when you turn around and you teach your girls to start promoting, what does that mean? Get enough of them to reach what they want, you reach what you want in return. Take it home, Kels. Oh, did you mute yourself again? She was probably out there like preaching too while I was talking. That's why she muted herself.
No. I have to mute myself because my freaking kids. Who knows what's gonna happen? Brian might be like screaming up like, "I'm about to pop your bottoms if you don't be quiet." I don't need everybody to hear that. So anyways, I love that. And when Shay was talking, one of the things that I wanted to touch on, because Morgan talks about it too, is just really what she's doing with those 3-way chats, you guys, is building connections. And I'm just, you guys all know, like, hopefully if you don't know me, you're about to find out, I'm a very like visual person. So sometimes I speak in metaphors because that's how my brain remembers things. And one example I always give to my my leaders is, because it's very easy. I came in this like a really raw, like blunt red personality, just meaning like I didn't have a great soft tone with people that needed to be dealt with in a soft tone. Okay. And so when I came in, I felt offended sometimes when my upline would talk to some of my downlines. Like, did she think I was not capable of doing that? Like, and I almost felt like my toes were being stepped on. And so in order to combat that feeling with my team, because I realized like that's not the case, I always use this example is, okay, if you have a balloon, right? The balloon is the new distributor that signs up. The string, okay, is going to be the connection. And then the chair that the balloon is tied to is them staying, right? And so their string that's holding them to the business, right? Because the chair is the business, is going to be what brought them in. So them seeing your post or whatever. And that relationship is with you. That's one string that's holding them to the business. That's the string. The balloon is the distributor. Hopefully you're following me. Once they develop another relationship, you're adding another string to secure the balloon. Once they develop an extra relationship, you're adding another string. They're developing sideline relationships, and it's another string. Money is just one string, you guys. The relationships are the other strings. And so here's what happens. When the money part and the check part goes down, and that string is strained, and that's cut, because we all know, and if you don't know, now you know, our checks go out like this, okay? They just go like that. You experience booming seasons and you won't, because it's a business, okay? And on a side note, if you value security, I always tell people, like, this is my recent like tangent I go on, is I get so pissed about people talking about security, like, oh, I just want a secure paycheck. I just want to know, want to know what I'm making. And I'm like, but you're the same person complaining about what you were making for that secure paycheck. Explain that to me, Karen. Riddle me that, right? Like, I don't understand that. And so here's the thing. So right, when that string gets cut, it's so easy for people to stay in the business because they're more invested, right? It's not just one thing that's cut. It's not that, oh my gosh, like I'm in a good mood and I'm motivated and I'm going to work my business. No, I'm staying planted because I have strong roots, because my string is not just so easily broken, because I have multiple ones. Okay. And I think that that's something that we can miss the mark on. I know I've missed the mark on that because our lives are changing. And so it can be hard to continue, though, to do that with newer people. And so what I'm going to talk about, I have so much to talk about. But what I want to talk about is, you are where you are because of who you are. So the reality of this is we get off these Zooms, and I love Zoom so much. They give me so much life. But we get off these Zooms and we're like, I'm ready. Let's go. Oh, but then somebody calls us and they start talking about how their dad has cancer, and we sit on the phone with them for 3 hours, and then we're distracted. And then our mom calls us and talks to us for an hour about her day. And then our friends are texting us about how their boyfriend broke up with us, and we don't do anything. and then we're not feeling motivated anymore because life happens, right? You can put your phone down for this hour and be like, I feel so great. But do you know why you feel so great? Is because you're pouring into yourself. And I'm proud of you. I want to tell you guys, I'm so proud of you for being on here. If you're on here, it's because you're a BA in some way, okay? Like, you are a rock star. You have something in you that people are seeing as special. And so you should give yourself a pat on the back, number one, for even being invited to the Zoom, but number two, for freaking showing up, okay? Because a bunch of other people, number one, didn't show up, and number two, didn't do the work that you did to get you here. So you should be proud of yourself. The other thing I want to talk about is the greatest leadership challenge is leading yourself. Hands down. Any leader will tell you. It's so easy to talk about leadership. It's so easy to talk about it. I'm just going to tell you, like, I can teach leadership all day, but when it comes to leading myself, I can struggle in that area. And so be very, very careful that it's to know that, I don't remember who said this to me. Oh, please. Maybe it was Tony Robbins, but I don't know. Don't quote me on this. He said something like, if you don't do it, then you don't really know it. You've just heard about it. And so often we hear about things from one area and we tell people about it and we talk about it and we know about it, but we've never done it. We've never done it. We talk about how hey, you need to wake up early. You need to get your 6 list done. You need to have your 6 list done by this time. And we'll teach our new distributors that, but guess who's not doing it? You. And I'm telling you this because Jesus knows, and now all you know, that I've done this. I've talked about it, and I've been so good at talking about it, and I can get so hyped when I'm talking and blah, blah, blah. But then at the end of the day, the rubber's not meeting the road. My money is not where my mouth is. And talk is the cheapest thing. It's not getting any more valuable. Okay? So I just want you guys to know that I feel like for a long time, even when I joined this business, because I had success, I had seen success. I went diamond in 4 months, and my checks were continuing to rise. I felt like, not that it was easy, but it was so simple, right? And then as you grow, it can get more complicated. But what I want you to know is there's no shortcuts to what you're doing. There's no shortcuts. And I'm going to tell you, nothing that's good ever comes easy or quick. I was like talking to this another Zoom, and somebody said tacos. I was like, yeah, tacos are good and they can be pretty quick, but really nothing good that's of value, right? Like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. If you're jumping into a relationship and it's super quick and easy, it doesn't feel good. Like it never turns out good. And so I want you to know that, like, it's never going to be convenient. It's never going to there's not going to be a shortcut. Okay. Because have you guys ever done this? Like when you're working out, I feel like when I'm working out, sometimes it's like a mental battle with like, oh, I'm just going to run like, I don't know how far I'm going to run. I'm going to run somewhere around 4 miles. But then when you're running, you're like, oh, I'll just do like 3.5. Like, and you just like convince yourself and like have this argument like in your head, like, oh no, I'm just going to do this. And I'm just going to go here. And it's like, you're constantly battling yourself instead of just saying, this is what I'm doing. And every time I've ever stopped short of what I've decided I was going to do, like, cause I didn't really decide, I've never felt good after that. If I only did 9 reps instead of 10 reps, I never felt good. And I want you guys to know that the secret to what we're doing, it comes from you, right? And I wrote down a couple things. So number 1, there has to be some self-awareness going on. You have to have self-awareness. You can't grow if you're not self-aware, you guys. You can't fix a problem or grow in an area that you don't know you have an issue in. The second thing is your self-esteem. And this grows you want to know how you grow your self-esteem? This just grows from you doing what you told yourself you were going to do. Not what you told anybody else you were going to do, not what somebody else told you to do. But if you said, I'm going to go run 2 miles today, guess what? You get evidence in that column that you showed up and did what you said you were going to do. Sending out 50 messages today, check, I did that. I'm showing up and I can do this. Gosh, I did that yesterday. I'm about to do it today. I did that 2 days in a row. I'm about to do it 3 days in a row. And it just keeps growing. Your self-esteem comes from you showing up and continuing to do the things that you told yourself you were going to do. Not the 6 list that so-and-so made because she went 40 million customers and signed 20 million distributors, okay? That's not what the 6 list I'm talking about you showing up for. And what is the 6 list you are showing up for that you promised yourself you would do? Okay, because all my blues, if you have any blue in you, you're the person that's like, okay, I'm about to get it tomorrow, 200 messages, 47 million customers I'm signing tomorrow. And you're just like, I'm about to just do it. All the things in one day. And then like, you're like, oh crap, I only got like 100 out, but it's still good, right? But we just don't have the steps that like, so just start, just do something. Okay. The other thing is, can you hear my husband? He's disciplining my kids. They always want to sleep together, you guys. This is my life. And then when they try, it's not working. Okay, so you have to just start speaking this to yourself. So one thing that I wrote down is I always write, everything attached to me wins. Okay, everything attached to me wins. The other thing I say is, the other thing I wrote down is people don't partner with people who are failures. I'm not partnering with somebody who's a failure. I'm partnering with somebody who's a winner. And so I need to be a winner if I want winners to partner with me. Okay. So I already have the mindset that everything around me is winning. So of course people want to come partner with me. It's not because I'm great. It's just because that's what happens. And the question you have to ask yourself is, am I being what I want to see? Okay. The next thing, okay, so we have self-awareness, self-esteem. The next thing is self-control. Guys, this is a fruit of the spirit, and it is something you will consistently battle with all the time, okay? And it's the reason it's the last one that's in the Bible is because it's the hardest one, okay? But it also is the one that helps govern all the other ones. And so here's the thing, self-control, don't be a victim. Stop being a victim. Victim and success don't go together. They don't go together at all. And so what I tell people is, people's stories are amazing because they get out of the victim mode, because they were once in the victim mode of this happened to me, but they got out of it. I don't know if you guys have heard the story. It's been a while since I told it, but there was this girl, I think she got pregnant when she was like 14. She was raped or something by a family member. And I bet you guys don't even know who she is, right? You know who she is, but you didn't know that this happened to her, and it's Oprah. But you didn't know that because she didn't let that be your story. So what part of your life are you letting be your story that needs to go? Take control back. You have the control to do that, okay? And like Morgan said, like don't, you have to take responsibility for your situation. Like you can't sit there and be like, oh, my team's not working. Like you really can't do that. You have to take ownership, and you have to take pride in your team. You have to take pride. One of the things that really shifted me, and when I started really growing in leadership, is when I started talking to my downline more than I was talking to my upline. I mean, like, y'all, I'm going to be real, and all blue people and red people on here might have this thing when it was like, yes, I'm so hungry to learn and I love being around those people. But part of it was because I wanted to be with those people, right? I wanted to be I wanted to be ambassador. I wanted to be that. And that hunger is good, but being with them wasn't growing my paycheck, right? I needed to invest the same amount as I was investing in those relationships with the people that I looked up to create people that I was eventually going to look up to. Right? And I think that that's like so hard for some people because we're so social and we want to be in like the in crowd and the circle. Like I get that. I've been there. I've done that. I love that too. But at the end of the day, those aren't the people that are going to grow your paychecks. And you have to love on your downline way harder than that. Way harder than you're caring about what status you have with your upline. Okay, number 4, self-motivation. So I'm gonna repeat these because sometimes I know it helps to hear them again. Self-awareness, self-esteem, self-control, self-motivation. Nobody can motivate you. Like nobody can motivate you. Nobody's gonna motivate you Like at the end of the day, like you have to motivate yourself. If somebody is inspiring you, that's one thing, but nobody can do the work for you. Nobody can do the work for you. You just have to have that ownership mindset, right? You have to have the mindset of like, this is my business and I'm showing up for it. Like if you're a mom on here and you have a baby, how many times do you wake up being like, whoa, I don't want to do this today. Like, I don't really want to do this. Like, can I just lock myself in my room for a second? Like I love my kids, but sometimes it's like but you don't get a choice, and you need to view the business as the same way. If you want this to be a lasting business, like a true lasting business, and not something that's just here temporarily, then you have to continue to invest in it. Even on the days that you don't feel like showing up, your doors always need to be open, because I'm going to tell you that feeling will follow. Because those same days that I don't want to parent are the same days when I see breakthrough with my kids, that they just start coming and start snuggling me, that I've signed so many loyal customers, right? Because that day I didn't want to pick up my phone, but gosh, I saw those results, right? Like I started getting them and I started feeling that. And so that's something else. And you're either going to have an extreme desire or an extreme fear that's motivating you. I have both. I suggest you have both too. My extreme desire, do you want to know what that is? I'm trying to be Black Diamond. That's my extreme desire. Do you want to know what my extreme fear is? Going back to work. Because I'm unemployable. Like I'm unhireable at this point. Okay. So at the end of the day, you have to be motivated by extreme fear or extreme desire. And sometimes we have to feel the fear to get the fire under your butt. And my question, and I really want you guys to answer this, is how bad does it have to get before you push hard enough, before you do what it's going to take? Because it's not a question about what it's going to take. We're not sitting on here telling you, post, message, follow up. You know that. You've watched so many trainings on that. We don't need to continue to go over that. The question is what is going to motivate you? What's going to motivate you? One of my biggest fears, and hopefully this will become one of yours after I say this, is that I get to heaven and God shows me this room and he's like, I had this room full of blessings for you, but you chose to be lazy. You didn't do what it took. You didn't grow into the person that I had inside of you. That is a fear of mine, that I didn't activate everything that he put in me. That motivates me to go when I don't feel like it, because that's the last thing I want, is to open up a room full of all these unopened presents that I could have had, all the blessings that God wanted to pour out on me. But because I was too lazy, because I just said it was hard, because it was uncomfortable. What is that? What is that? That's some BS, y'all. Y'all in your feelings. Get out and do the work. You know what it takes. It's not rocket science. There's somebody out there with less potential than you, who's higher than you are, who's at a better rank, and who's just doing what it takes. Okay, I gotta stop because I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, but I have 3 more. Okay, the 5th one is self-expectancy. Y'all, this is one that God is teaching me right now. Do I expect to win? When you pray to Jesus, pray with an expectant heart. Stop being like, okay, like I prayed that I'm gonna go double diamond. I prayed for it, but no part of you believes it. No part of you believes that. You have to expect that you're going to win. You have to. Having that positive mindset prepares you mentally for success. Because if you're believing and saying, I'm going double diamond, I'm going triple diamond, I'm going presidential diamond, then guess what your brain starts to think? How's it going to feel when I do that? How's that $50,000 a month paycheck going to feel? And your brain starts to picture it. And your brain thinks in pictures if you don't know. And there's been so many times I've pictured myself on the White Couch. There's been so many times that I've pictured myself being interviewed for Pam's podcast, which has not happened yet. There's been so many times that I've pictured all of these things in my head. And I realized dang, like that happened. And this is really vulnerable, but I'll tell you, when I went ambassador, to be honest, I was so happy, but it was a little underwhelming. And I know that sounds really odd, right? Don't get me wrong. Like, but I didn't like go run around my house. Like when I went ambassador, like I was hyped and I felt this, but I was talking to Kay, who's Pam's daughter, about this. And I said, I feel like it was like so anticlimactic when that happened. And she, you know what she said to me? And it like clicked. She was like, well, because it had already happened in your head. You'd already pictured it so many times before that when it actually happened, you had already moved on. And so I want you guys, and this is what the Zoom is about. If you've already promoted last month and you promoted a Ruby, you already have had Diamond happen in your head. You should be thinking about double Diamond. I'm not saying you have to get out a double Diamond chart, but what I'm saying is like mentally you should be like, okay, I'm about to go Diamond and then I'm about to go double Diamond. Okay, when I think about a double Diamond, what does the double Diamond do? And you just start acting like it. Okay, you just start acting like it. And that's what happens. That's why you have to expect to win. Okay, let's see. Winners don't doubt themselves, and you have to expect something amazing out of yourself. Okay, number 6, self-image. Every one of you has ambassador inside of you. Every single one of you. But I want you to write out, who do I want the ambassador Diamond Taylor Kaufman to be? Who do I want the ambassador Diamond Morgan Martin to be? Put your name in the blank. Who do I want the ambassador Diamond Cheyenne Knox to be? Jacob Harris, Libby Hayner. Who do I want? Who do you want that person to be? And who can you help? Who can you bless? Like, who are you doing? Wait, who are you doing this for? And that's all the big part of who do you want to become, right? Who do you want to become? Okay, so that's your self-image. And the last one is self-direction. Do you have a game plan? That's what we're talking about right now. Do you have a game plan? Do you have a vision board? Do you even know what it's going to take to get there? If there's no plan, it's going to equal failure. There's like that quote that says, I don't know, failing to plan is, what is it? Somebody help me. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I got it. Let me see if I wrote anything else down. I mean, I'm sure. Okay, something else I wrote is, I can't help anybody if they're undisciplined. There's absolutely nothing I can do for an undisciplined person. So are you becoming more self-disciplined? And if you want to become more self-disciplined, read Atomic Habits. It will teach you a lot of self-discipline, but also know that self-disciplined people put themselves in less positions to be disciplined, where they have to be disciplined. Does that make sense? Disciplined people who have high levels of self-discipline actually don't have to choose discipline as often as people who have low levels of self-discipline do. So you're not putting yourself in the situations to have to choose discipline. And we all know this, but temporary success is different than sustained success. And as you grow, your capacity for what success is also going to grow. There have been times that I've been upset with $20,000 a month paychecks. And then I get mad about that paycheck, right? And it's this vicious cycle. And there's two sides to the stone here, because I'm not going to speak out of both sides of my mouth, but I am, because number one, gratefulness is the gateway to success. Okay, you can't be successful if you're not grateful. You can't have more success if you're not grateful. However, I want you to put, not only do I want you to have a dream of what income you're going for, but I also want you to have a lower limit of what income you will never go below. What income are you never going below? Like, what is unacceptable to you? And go and keep looking at that, but know that that's just not happening. And so for me, I think that I just want you guys all to realize that this is a constant journey. And I'm so excited for you guys because you're on here and you're saying to yourself, dang, like I've just accomplished so much. And I remember that feeling. Like I remember going Ruby and feeling like, oh my God, bro, like I made it, like I'm good, like and nobody told me nothing. Like okay, then Erin called me and she was like, get out your diamond chart. I didn't have a printer. I didn't have a diamond chart. She's like, draw it. And I was like, okay, drew it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I still need 12 people, bro. Talk to me in 3 months. No. She was like, no, you're going to go this month. And I'm like, oh, I am? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, my volume went from 4,000 to 17,000 in 1 month. I don't even know what happened because we could be on here and be like, oh, this is exactly what we did. This is exactly what we did. This is exactly what we did when we promoted. But let me tell you something. It's going to look different for you. But Morgan, Cheyenne, Taylor, all these people who are on here who have promoted to high ranks in this company, you want to know what we did to promote? Whatever it took. Whatever it took. And it looked different for each one of us, right? Because we were all at different points and we didn't even care because it was like, this is what we did. We just did whatever it took because we told ourselves we were going to. And so you know what it's like to quit. You know what it's like to give up. But I want to see what happens when you don't. I want to see what happens when you put it on the line. And who really cares if at the end of the day, you were like, dude, I freaking laid it all out there. I was blood, sweat, and tears. Like I did it. And I missed diamond or I missed double or I missed triple, but my volume grew by 18,000 and my paycheck grew by 4,000. Are you really going to be that mad? But it's going to happen. Yeah, Gabby freaking double promoted from diamond to triple. Her volume went from 8,000 to 35,000 in a month. A month. But the reason is because we were doing, like Morgan was saying, I was thinking about that. I'm like, dang, we were doing that with Gabby, like when the three-way chats, but we didn't call them three-way chats. Like we weren't really intentional with them. And so we were just literally going from here to here. We just did whatever it took. That's it. We just decided it was happening and it's done. Once you make that decision, I want you to know it's done. It's done. It's like marriage. Like I married you, bro. Like you want to fight? Okay, go sit your butt on the couch and we're going to figure it out. Okay? It's the same thing with this business. You want to fight? You want to make it hard? You want to go for a big goal? Okay, it's going to be hard. But sit your butt down in that office and get to work. Okay, I'm done. Just cut me off because I will just keep going. And it's like,
I mean, you could talk all night if you want to. I was just over here taking notes. Y'all, who got something from this Zoom tonight? This is exactly how I wanted this to go, of just like a coffee chat. Like, we don't got coffee because it's 8:41 at night, but we got them open hearts though because we're ready. There's just so much good information. And guys, there's not one secret key to leadership. There's not one secret key to success. It's just doing all the things. Like, just like Kelsey said, I was like, I wonder what she's going to synopsis this as. And she said, it's just, we did whatever it took. We did. You step up as a leader. You have those personal conversations. You just figure it out. But the first thing that it comes, and what I wanted to say is that all these tips that we implemented, no, it's not overnight change. It's not overnight, like, bam, you're a leader and you got all these leaders. But the things that you change today, the things that you implement today that you learned, you're going to see a ripple effect quickly. You're going to start seeing one person step up and then another person get on Zoom, and your team Zooms. I mean, me and Morgan were talking about it the other day about how many people are on our team Zooms. Like, you're always going to have those small wins. Like, I just got goosebumps everywhere right now. Like, I love this. And I'm so thankful that y'all got on here. And like Kelsey said, like, I just wanted to recognize y'all once again for killing it and for continuously killing it, because you're going to have your own Zooms like this one day, because you decided to show up and to continue showing up through it all. So I hope you'll have a super awesome night. I know we held you over a little bit, but I don't think any of y'all are complaining. I will post this up on my YouTube just so we can kind of share it with our teams later on and duplicate that layered leadership. But have a super awesome night. Go finish crushing your goals. Go get your 6 list done and go pour into your team. I want you to go recognize some people on your team. I want you to go love on some people. Text your upline and tell them what you learned from this and what you're going to implement. Just go talk about it. Just go get out there and start spreading some fire, because the fire starts with us, okay? Love y'all. Good night.
Bye, guys.